Do you know what? I am a bit. I say I'm a bit deflated. Obviously the Baleba news that broke yesterday. Um, I mean, to be fair, I've been there so many times with Man United, and it's one of them things where sometimes you just become immune to disappointment. I think that's the best thing to say. Yeah, it's just frustrating. Obviously, come out yesterday that the deal was potentially off. Even though, for me, I still do believe United. I do still believe United get this deal done. I think United can't make it publicly known that they want Carlos Baleba and then nothing gets done. So for me, I'm still going to remain positive. Big up to Barbara Joseph. Big up to Daniela Iacona as well. Yeah, I'm still going to remain positive on Carlos Baleba. I still think definitely he does come to Manchester United. But yeah, as I said, man, it is frustrating. It's highly frustrating. But all we can do is just remain positive and see what United do. Obviously there's been talk about United now pivoting towards Adam Walton. Big up to Gunners fan for coming through. There's been obviously talk about United pivoting to Adam Walton. And again, I think when you start hearing these kind of stories, I think it's safe to say that these things are not going to happen. Because Adam Walton is going to be a more difficult deal to do than what it is for Carlos Baleba for many reasons. If we're thinking about Eze and Guehi potentially leaving, one of them, I think it's likely that one of them actually leave in this window. I think Guehi stays, but I think Eze possibly could move. Whether it's Tottenham or Arsenal, I reckon he definitely moves in this window. Big up to Chris Mark, and I think if that's the case, there's no way Wharton's moving. So these stories now that we're hearing about United now looking at Adam Wharton, as I said, man, it's just nonsense. It's nonsense, and I don't believe this story for one. I think United still, I think they still make a move on Baleba, and the thing with me, what annoys me, and I keep saying this. Obviously, United have been told, from the reports that we've been hearing that Brighton are saying he's not for sale, etc. Well, if United have been in talks with Baleba, then that's a lot of nonsense anyway. And it's one of them things where Brighton can say that all they want. Even when what's his name, Fabian Herzler come out and said he's confident that he stays. Again, until a bid is made, you just don't know what's going to happen. So this is what I can't stand about Manchester United. It's like I would have preferred United to just put a bid together, and then if it gets rejected, at least we know that you've actually tried. But all this talking with the player, etc., and all this other stuff, it's like, well, just put the bid in, and at least we can see if this still can be possible. But as it stands right now, there's been no bid put in, and it's one of them things now where you just think to yourself, yeah, what's this all about, But yeah, as I said, I'm gonna remain optimistic anyway, And as Chris Mark says, who is the alternative to Baleba and Walton? I mean, there's been talk about, Morton Holmlund from Sporting Lisbon, obviously ex-player of the manager Ruben Amorim. For me, Man United are not signing any Amorim players, and I think people need to get their head around this. Man United are signing clubs. Man United are making club signings. They're not making signings for the manager. So Hjomland of Sporting Lisbon, obviously he's their captain. He's not going to come through. That's not going to happen. Man United's main target is Baleba. I don't think there could be any other alternative. The two midfielders that I wanted was Baleba and Douglas Luiz. Again, the Douglas Luiz noise has gone quiet. And then now there's Wharton. Wharton's going to be a signing for next season. But for me, as I keep saying, Man United cannot afford to not get this Baleba deal done. Because if somehow Baleba stays this season, potentially next season he can be on the move. I don't think it's going to be to Man United. Unless he supported Man United as a boyhood fan, it's going to be unlikely that United get this deal over the line. So, as I said, for me, United need to just at least make a bid. That's all we ask for. If they make a bid, then as I said, I'm I'm more satisfied, put it away. If we make a bid and then Brighton just say, look, we want this amount, then fair enough. But all this talking and nothing's been done it is frustrating. But as I said, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I don't believe this whole Wharton story. And again, Palace are tough negotiators. If you look at how they didn't sell Mark Guehi to Newcastle, I believe a couple of seasons ago. I think Newcastle actually offered 70 mil and Palace still turned it down. So Adam Wharton is going to cost Baleba money, you would say. And even that, I think that's a difficult deal to do in comparison to the Baleba. So again, I think all this Wharton talk is just talk just to get fans, to put them in different spirits because of the disappointment of the Baleba deal. But Wharton's not going to happen, And as I said, the main target is Baleba for me, no doubt, no doubt. And as Chris and Mark says, it's just paper talk. Yeah, exactly. That's what I can't stand. I'd rather United just say, look, we want Baleba, and they put a bid in. This is what I don't understand. I think I don't know whether it's a case where teams are afraid to put bids in because if it gets rejected, they become a laughing stock. I don't know. But for me, I just don't understand why the bids just don't get put in. And if the team says, look, we're rejecting the bid, at least you're showing everyone that you mean business and you want the player, because at this moment in time, we're only looking at really Man United. There was talk about City and Newcastle being interested. But I think it's always been United. That's been the main team that really wants Baleba. Now, the fact of the matter is, if United haven't put a bid in, then and they've got more or less a free run, we would say. I don't know what they're doing, And I still do believe United put a bid in, and I think as well, and I could be wrong. I think tomorrow's game, and guys, make sure you come and join me live tomorrow's game for the live watch along. I'll be going live at 4 o'clock tomorrow. So yeah, make sure you guys come through, and we can take in this game. I think if United was to get beat tomorrow, you're gonna see, the club do PR and start trying to go for Baleba now. I think that happens, but this Baleba deal should have been in motion now. You know what I mean? The bid should have already been made. But I wouldn't be surprised if United get beat tomorrow, and then a bid for Baleba comes in, regardless if it gets rejected or not. I'm hoping not. I'm hoping United are going to put a bid in regardless. But as I said, man, it's frustrating now to see that United, have been given a setback. So what do they do from here? Big up to Daniela says, did Liverpool play against Bournemouth? They did yesterday. So Liverpool beat Bournemouth 4-2. A goal from Ekatike on his debut. Cody Gakpo, Federico Chiesa, and then Mr. Inevitable himself, Mo Salah, getting the goal at the end. And the thing with Salah was gonna score in that game because if you watch Salah throughout the whole game, he was very selfish, I would say. And the fact that he got the last goal, is that's just what Mo Salah does. Mo Salah's not a great player, but when it comes to goals, the guy's inevitable, and this is why you have to give him his praise. I'm not someone that, because he's at Liverpool, or someone that I don't rate as a player, I'm just going to be blinded to the fact of what this guy is doing. I don't rate him as a player, but in terms of goals, the guy turns up season in, season out, and that's a fact. So yeah, he got his goal yesterday. Anton Semenyo obviously received was racially abused yesterday by someone in the Liverpool fan, part of the Liverpool fans, and got 2 goals. Second goal was very good yesterday, very good. Running from deep. But yeah, Liverpool running out 4-2 winners. I did say 3-1 Liverpool or 3-0. 4-2. Yeah, I mean, I kind of expected it. I think people were thinking that Bournemouth were gonna get blown away by Liverpool at home. I never saw it as that. I know Liverpool got 4 goals in the end, but for much of the game, Bournemouth were in the game. I think it's just because of Liverpool's fans and the fact that Liverpool just keep going right to the very end. they got those 2 goals. So good start. Some decent performances. I thought Ekatike was decent. Who else played all right? Trying to think. Ekatike. Alexis McAllister I thought was good as well. Wirtz for me, top player, but didn't have his best game. But the thing is with Wirtz is going to be all right because, Wirtz has just got a lot of quality. So it's one of them things where, it's one of them things where the more game time Florian Wirtz gets, the better he's going to become, So I got no worries about him whatsoever. He's going to be a top player. But yeah, I think, Liverpool getting off to a good start. 3 points in the bag, 4-2. I think they'll be a bit concerned from their defending, to be fair, because I think a better team probably comes out winning the game in the end. I think there was a stat that Liverpool have never lost a game when they've been leading 2-0 at home. They've never lost a home game leading 2-0. So, and obviously that record still stays intact. But I think a better team probably would have at least got a draw in that game. So, yeah, I think it's... the fact that they got away with the win, it's what Liverpool do. And as I said, come the end of the season, you'd expect them to be right up there, challenging for the title, And again, they might still get Alexander Isak in as well. They've signed that young defender, Giovanni Leone, from Parma. Obviously, he's going to be more of a backup option, with a view to him becoming, a first-team regular in the future. But yeah, as I said, man, I think, I can see them still making at least one more signing, whether it's Isak or someone else. But I think one more signing comes through the door. But yeah, as I said, they got over the line against Bournemouth. And I do think Bournemouth throughout the season will give some of the top teams in the league problems. Because, they have got a style of play that is impressive, to be fair, So we'll have to wait and see, man. Big up to Sam. Sam says Baleba 2026. But Sam, the problem is, again, this is the problem. I don't want to entertain this Baleba 2026, Man United have to go and get Baleba now. I know there's been talk about Baleba, the setback, how Brighton don't want to sell him. Give Brighton an offer that they can't refuse. We know United have got the money, So just give Brighton an offer that they can't refuse. I'd much rather United just go in straight away with, a 90 million bid, test the waters, and see what Brighton do. But this whole Baleba 2026, I have to be honest, I'm just not interested in that. You have to go and get Baleba now. He's a crucial signing. As I said, I've been saying this for the start of the summer, since last season. He's a player that United have to get. There's no ifs or buts. He's the player for so many reasons. Left-footed, which are a rarity in the game as a central midfielder. You're looking at the top ones. You're looking at Eduardo Camavinga. You're looking at Fabian Ruiz. Those are the two that are at the top teams, Real Madrid and PSG. And then for me, Baleba could be the next one. So he's a crucial signing because, as I said, the guy come from Lille, so he already had a pedigree playing in Liga already. And he's only 21 years of age. And he's going to be someone that if United don't snap up now, I don't want to hear that, Brighton don't want to sell. Brighton do want to sell, but you have to make an offer that they can't refuse. And the best way to do that is to at least put a bid in and test the resolve, And I've still got hope that United do that, by the way, even though the setback, obviously from the reports we're hearing, But again, David Ornstein's the one that broke this news about Baleba anyway. And he's not actually come out and said that, United can't get Baleba. He hasn't come out and said that. So until he comes out and says that, I think it's something that I'm just going to remain optimistic on that, really. If he comes out and says, look, this still ain't going to happen, then fair enough. And again, you have to look at Man United and think, what the hell are they doing? Because you don't make it publicly known that you want Carlos Baleba. You don't even put a bid in, because Brighton can say all they want that they want to keep him. But until that bid is made, how do we know this? And this is what I'm trying to say to you. Like, these things here are frustrating. So, but yeah, big up, man, for your comment. But I don't really want to be hearing Baleba 2026. Just go and get him now, because 2026. Sorry. So 2026, I don't see United getting him, because I can tell you this now. You know, the big clubs around the world, he'll be on their radar for sure. Because as I said, he's a rare profile of player. The fact that he's left-footed as well is a high, unique selling point for me. So, you know, left-footed, very good in possession, a very good passer of the ball, tenacious. You know, he's good at drop. He's good at running with the ball from deep, breaking the lines. You know, he ticks so many boxes, and this is what I'm trying to say to you. There shouldn't be any talk of 2026. If United is serious and they really want him, then just put a bid in. That's it. Big up to Emily Rowe. Big up for coming through, Emily. Chrism Ark says, I picked Cliver instead of Semenyo, and it cost me over 8 bags. That's the point. Cliver didn't even play yesterday. I wonder if he's injured. He must be injured. I forgot about Justin Cliver. But yeah, listen, Semenyo and Justin Cliver as a combination for Bournemouth, you know, they're quite a dangerous combination. You know, Cliver plays in the 10, and as we know, Semenyo plays out on the right hand side. But I think Bournemouth will be all right. You know, Bournemouth plays some good football. I think they're going to need to get a couple of more signings in to secure, you know, maybe, because I can see Bournemouth finishing bottom half, you know, top of the bottom half. But if they get a few more signings in with the kind of football that they play, who knows? Who knows? Because they gave Liverpool problems yesterday, but it's only because Liverpool's obviously the players that they can bring off the bench as well to change the game. The fans behind them being at home. I reckon if Liverpool were away from home, they probably don't even get back into this game. So yeah, I think Bournemouth will be fine, definitely. Big up to Jay. Big up Jay for coming through. Emily says, will Arsenal reach Champions League semi-finals in your opinion? Big up to Emily. So, in my opinion, no, I don't think they will. You know, I'm not going to make no secret of, you know, I wouldn't say discuss or nothing like that. But for me, Arsenal for me are not serious. They're not serious for me, because they should have got rid of Arteta, you know, at least 2 to 3 seasons ago. I believe if Arsenal, and again, I don't want to see Arsenal succeeding, because, again, being a Man United fan, Arsenal are obviously our arch rivals, you know, and obviously the game on Sunday, you know, it's going to be an intense game for me personally, because Man United cannot lose this game. But what I would say, I reckon with the team that Arteta's built, I think a different manager, a better manager, probably would have got them over the line, whether that's the Champions League or the league. I do truly believe that. But the fact that Arteta's still there, I just don't see them doing anything with this manager. And I think the thing with Arteta, he's done a very good job in getting Arsenal to compete. But that's all they're going to do is compete. Because when it comes to winning the big trophies, yeah, I just don't think Arteta has what it takes. You know, so to answer your question, do I think Arsenal reach the Champions League semi-finals? I don't, because I think if they bump into I know they beat Real Madrid last season, you know, but you'd have to believe Real Madrid might be slightly different this time around under Xabi Alonso. You know, I think if they meet a Barcelona, a Real Madrid, a PSG, Man City, Liverpool, possibly a Chelsea, you know, Bayern Munich. I think if they meet any of them top teams, you know, in the semi-final over 2 legs, I don't think they've got enough. I don't think they've got enough to beat them, personally. And the reason I say that is because I look at your signings, and I know everyone will get excited because Gyökeres, you know, Zubimendi. But I look at Arsenal's signings as a whole, and I don't see... Because I think they bought Gyökeres. Gyökeres is a bit of a different one, because they needed someone that is going to put the ball in the back of the net. And obviously, over the last few seasons, he has been doing that, you know. at a ridiculous rate, although it has been in the Portuguese league. But I do think that when push comes to shove, they got to play those teams I just mentioned. I don't know if those guys will step up to the plate. And I look at Arsenal's transfer window, and really and truly, I don't really see any eye-catching signings. If I'm honest, because I thought where Arsenal were, they need to go and get someone that is regarded as the best in the world in their position. Because for me, Gyökeres scores goals, but I don't look at Gyökeres as the best in the world, one of the best in the world. I don't. I just think he's scored a lot of goals in Portugal, but is he going to replicate that in the Premier League? We'll have to wait and see. So that's my reason for saying I don't believe Arsenal do anything significant, because they haven't made any game-changing signings. Zubamendi, as I said, is a very good footballer, but when it comes to the physicality in this league, is he gonna be able to match that? So Madueke I've spoken about already. Why you spent that money on Madueke is confusing. So and obviously Mosquera, is probably one more for the future and is going to back up Gabriel and Saliba. So yeah, as I said, I don't see them making the semi-finals, but again, the draw most of the time wins you the Champions League anyway. But I think if they meet any of them teams, they're gonna come unstuck for me. Gunners fan says, Gav, how many goals do you think Igor Jesus will get? Do you know what? Igor Jesus of formerly of Botafogo, obviously now at Brentford. You know what? I actually think I think he's at Brentford, isn't he? Is he Brentford or Nottingham Forest? Is that? I think he might be Brentford. I've actually seen quite a bit of him, and do you know what? He's actually a good player. He's a good striker. Again, to say how many goals he's going to get is going to be difficult because again, it's about how the team sets up. Are they going to get the best out of the player? A lot of these factors come into it. But again, he hasn't really had a full season in the Premier League, so. I mean, to start off, if you're looking at 10 Premier League goals as a starting base for Igor Jesus, I think that's probably fair. But again, I think until we see, 5 games from him on a consistent basis, it's hard to kind of judge that. But I've seen quite a bit of him, and to be fair, he looks a very good player. So we'll have to wait and see, man. But yeah, I think 10 goals is probably a good basis to start from, Chris Mark says, I think 2-1, 2-2 to Man U. Oh, 2-1 or 2-2 Man U tomorrow. Yeah, listen, I said 2-2. I think United Arsenal, I'm going to say it's a draw. I said 2-2. I think both teams will be looking at it as a must-not-lose game, definitely. So I think just based on that, Man United, for me, are going to sit in as well. Obviously, there's been reports that Sesko is going to start as well. If Sesko does actually start, I'll be very interested to see what the team he's going to do, because if Sesko starts, that means he's playing Bruno in midfield. And I think if he plays Bruno in midfield with Ugarte, which is, I think, what he's going to do, I think United are going to be in trouble. I'm going to say it now. I think United will be in trouble if he plays Bruno in midfield, because Bruno's going to play. But if Sesko starts, that means he's going to start Sesko, Cunha, Mbeumo, and then he's going to play Bruno, Ugarte, Ahmad right wing back, I think. If he drops Ahmad, I mean, get him out. If he drops Ahmad, there's no way Ahmad should be dropped. But when Dallow's there, you have to put these things. These things have to be in the back of your mind, because he wants to play Dallow. He can't drop Dorgu. Again, if Dorgu gets dropped, it's an absolute joke. And then the back three, again, if the Licks fit, then you've got the Lick, Euro. And I can see him playing Luke Shaw, left side centre-back. Yeah, I can see Luke Shaw playing. I think if Harry Maguire, if the Lick's not fit, if the Lick's not fit, he's going to play Harry Maguire, Euro, Shaw. If the Ligt is fit, he's going to play the Ligt, Euro, Luke Shaw. Yeah, and Onana will be back in goal. I guarantee you that's what he's going to do. I guarantee you. But if Sesko's starting, I have to be honest, I think my predictions might change in actual fact, because, and the reason I say that, it's nothing against Sesko starting, because I didn't think Sesko would start. But I think if Sesko starts, I think United might be in trouble because he's going to play Bruno and Ugarte in midfield. And against the three, of Odegaard, Rice, and Zubimendi, unless Bruno's going to be disciplined in that position next to Ugarte, I can see United getting overrun. So, yeah, I'm going to see this team sheet, the team news tomorrow. And as I said, if Sesko does start, that means Bruno's in midfield. So, yeah, it'd be one to watch. And I say, I might have to change my prediction. But if I'm basing it on Sesko not starting, then I'm going to say, yeah, 2-2. 2-2, even 1-1. But I'm going to say 2-2. But if Sesko does start, and again, nothing against Sesko, I would have to change my prediction. But we'll find that out tomorrow. But big up, Chris Mark. Emily Rose says, Gunners fan, I think they will get knocked out in the quarterfinal. But again, it depends who Arsenal meet in the quarterfinals. Because if they meet any of the top teams, I just don't know over 2 legs if Arsenal have what it takes. In a one-off game, again, anything can happen. But as I said, if it's a 2-legged affair in quarterfinal and the semis, if they meet one of the top teams, yeah, I just don't see Arsenal getting over the line personally. Emily thinks Arsenal will win 2-1. Again, as I just mentioned, I think I'm gonna wait and see the lineup tomorrow, because if Sesko does start, which I didn't think he would, Amarim's got a problem because he's not going to play Ugarte and he's not going to play Bruno and Casemiro together, which means he's going to want legs in the midfield. But I just don't think the combination of Bruno and Ugarte together will be anywhere near good enough. So yeah, we'll wait and see tomorrow though. Daniela says, Gav, who will Liverpool play against in the next game and when? I'm not even too sure, to be honest. If anyone in the chat knows who Liverpool are playing, I'm not too sure. But again, good start from Liverpool, and at home, you'd expect it. But again, I think, if we're being honest, I think that defence needs to tighten up. As I keep mentioning, guys, why Liverpool haven't gone to a 3 at the back, then I know there's son at Leone who really, realistically ain't going to start. But I think they could be missing a trick, not getting another defender in. Someone that's going to start and play 3 at the back. Because, as I said, Jeremy Frimpong is not a right back. He's played his majority of his career, especially at Bayer Leverkusen. Because let's not forget, this guy was at Celtic as well, and did play as a right back. But, again, no disrespect to Scottish football, but it's the Scottish football, so he'd be able to get away with playing right back there. But, for me, if you play him and Kirkes as the wing-backs and have 3 defenders there, I think it makes Liverpool more dangerous. I've been saying this since the start of the summer. But I think they've got to tighten up. And there was no surprise that both Kirkes and Frimpong both came off the pitch. Because defensively, they were getting troubled, realistically, by Semenyo and by, what's his name on the left-hand side? David Brooks. They were giving them a bit of problem. So, yeah, one to watch. But I'm not sure who Liverpool are playing. I'm not sure. Big up to Idol TV. So Emily says Semenyo was performing good. Yeah, I think with someone like Semenyo's, his physicality is a problem for most teams in this league. So yeah, he's someone for me that I don't really rate him that highly as a footballer. But in this league, he's an absolute problem because he's got strength, he's got pace, he's direct as well, and he can score goals in this league. When there was links to Man United buying him, I could see why United were looking at him because of this system. But realistically, I didn't want United signing him. But again, he'll cause many teams problems in this league because of his physicality, and again, he caused Kirkes all sorts of problems in the first half. And then obviously got his 2 goals. His second goal was very good. So yeah, he's gonna cause teams problems, definitely. Big up to Exedra. Big up, bro, for coming back on. Jay says the amount of people say that Salah is better than many wingers, but they're wrong. Salah is so overrated. But again, And big up to Jay for your comment. But Jay, the problem is, yeah, and this is something that I take a keen interest in. You know, Salah's not a winger. Like, people need to get this winger talk out of their head that with Salah. We have to look at when we're looking at different profiles of players. So I'll give you a couple of players. Yeah, Mo Salah. If you look at Mo Salah, Ryan Cherky, let's say. Actually, no, I'll take out Cherky because I don't know if Cherky's going to play in the 10 or not. But if we say Mo Salah, Pedro Neto, and then we say, trying to think. Let's say Brian Mbeumo, for instance. Yeah. So you've got Mo Salah is a wide forward because his first instinct is goals, you know. Then you've got Pedro Neto is a winger, you know, even because these guys play on the same side of the pitch, but it's important to look at the profiles of the players. So you've got Salah, who's a wide forward. You've got Neto, who's a winger. And then you've got Brian Mbeumo. Again, Mbeumo's playing in a bit of a different system. But Mbeumo, you would say, is more of a... I look at Mbeumo as a hybrid. You know, he's more of a wide forward come winger. You know, and people might think, what do you mean about this? What do you mean one's a winger, one's a wide forward? Because they play in the same part of the pitch doesn't mean they all occupy the same roles in the team. Mo Salah for Liverpool for years, when you're playing him in a 4-3-3, you know, and Bobby Firmino's key to this, because Bobby Firmino was a false nine, it meant that both Salah and Mane were both wide forwards because they were tasked with getting the goals, you know. If you had an Erling Haaland, for instance, as a number 9 striker at Liverpool, and you've got Salah and you've got Mane, Salah and Mane no longer become wide forwards because you've got a number 9 striker there that wants to get goals. So this is where the roles change. Whereas if you look at, for instance, Riyad Mahrez, when Mahrez was playing with Haaland, you know, was Mahrez with Haaland? He was, wasn't he? Yeah. So if you look at Riyad Mahrez, for instance, Riyad Mahrez is a bit of a hybrid. He's like a number 10/winger playing out wide. You know, and even though Riyad Mahrez got numbers, again, when you've got a number 9 striker that wants to get goals, your role out wide becomes different. You don't become the wide forward or that. Salah's a wide forward because any player that really comes in, you know, means that he's still going to be tasked with getting the goals because he's a wide forward. It might change now because I'll give an example. Ekatike is a striker, but he's not like an out-and-out striker. He's someone that likes to drop deep, link the play, etc. So Salah can still be that wide forward. However, if Alexander Isak comes in, Salah's role then changes. He probably becomes a bit more of a creator in that sense because you've got the number 9 striker that is just come from his other team as the main goal getter. So these things they might be a bit difficult to understand, but it's about having different profiles in different systems. So again, you wouldn't compare the likes of Jadon Sancho to a Mo Salah because Jadon Sancho isn't tasked with getting goals. Jadon Sancho is more like a number 10/winger playing out wide, whereas Mo Salah is basically a fake striker playing from out wide in a sense. You know, it might be difficult to understand, but when people say that Salah is better than many wingers, but they're wrong, Salah is so rated, you can't compare Salah to other wingers because, like, Anthony Gordon's a winger. You can't compare Salah to him because their roles are different in the teams. You know, Salah's tasked with getting goals. Anthony Gordon's probably more on the assist side of it, you know. So yeah, it's about understanding different profiles, man. But yeah, big up. Emily Rose says, is Salah top 10 Premier League player in your opinion? Whatever. Again, subjective question. Because when you're saying top 10 Premier League player ever, what are we basing this on? Because if we're basing it on quality, he's probably not even in my top 20 if we're basing it on quality. But if we're basing it on what he's done in this Premier League, then yeah, he's got an argument for it, definitely. But again, these things are subjective. Let me know what you mean by top 10 player. because it needs to be narrowed down to actually what we're talking about. If it's if it's based on quality, he probably doesn't even make my top 20, because I can name easily 20 top players in the Premier League based on quality that are better than Mo Salah. But in terms of numbers, if it's purely numbers, then he's up there easily. But again, a lot of it's subjective. Big up to Idol TV. Big up to Ramis, Janssen, and Lake as well for coming through. Big up DXR each and every time. Yeah, listen, bro. Premier League is back. Yep. Obviously, game yesterday, Liverpool and Bournemouth, and now we got the Saturday fixtures today. Obviously, got Villa Newcastle at 12:30 kicking off in a bit. Brighton Fulham, Sunderland West Ham, Tottenham Burnley, Wolves City, Chelsea Palace, Forest and Brentford tomorrow. Also, the Chelsea Palace game tomorrow as well. The big one, United Arsenal, and then Monday, Leeds and Everton. So yeah, some good games. And as I said, I'll be doing a live watch along tomorrow for the Man United and Arsenal game. So yeah, make sure you guys come through. Gav, do you think Patrick Dorgu is underrated? Do you know what? It's a difficult question to answer, because I don't think he's underrated. I wouldn't say he's underrated. I think what it is, people are not really giving him the respect. That's a wrong word to say, actually. I think he's someone that will surprise people. He's not underrated in the sense of he's one of the best players in the world and how can people not rate him? I think what it is with Dorgu is that when he first came in, there was a lot of criticism. But for me, I think he's going to keep getting better and better. And as I said, I think the more experience he gets, the more continuity he gets with his teammates, in terms of them knowing how he plays, may not have more of a settled team. You're going to see a better Patrick Dorgu. And the thing as well with Dorgu, I think Dorgu would be better in the back four. I mentioned this the other day with Alphonso Davies. If you look at Alphonso Davies' profile, Davies is got physicality. He's not a great defender, but he's got pace and power. And I think Dorgu can kind of replicate what Alphonso Davies does at left back for Bayern Munich. So yeah, I think his future might be left back. But at this moment in time, him as a left wing back, he's doing a good job, definitely in pre-season. And yeah, I think he gets better and better. But I don't think he's overrated personally. Underrated, sorry. I don't think he's underrated. I think it's one of them things where, people are not really giving him too much praise because for reasons that we don't know. But I think he gets better and better, definitely. So Man United should sign him for 50 mil plus 5 mil add-ons plus 28% sell-on. Who's that you're talking about? Arsenal Pakistan cricket team? Who should Man United sign? Big up to Nubis Kubis says, Wharton, Palace won't sell him for less than 100 mil, knowing how much United are willing to pay over 100 mil for Baleba plus English player tax. Yeah, I agree, Nubis. I agree, man. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not sure how long you've been in the chat for, but as I mentioned earlier, this whole Wharton talk, I don't believe. I just think that, in actual fact, it's lazy. It's lazy because there's been a bit of a setback that we're hearing on Baleba. It's like, let's pivot now to Adam Wharton. But Palace are gonna Palace, as we know, have proved a lot harder to try and get players to leave their club before. Look at Mark Guehi. Guehi's still there, and Guehi's having to go on a free transfer because, again, what Palace are asking for, and have every right to ask for that as well, is going to be too much. So for me, Wharton's easily going to cost 100 million, and if you look at how late in the window it is now, there haven't been any tentative inquiries about Wharton really, as much as there have been about Baleba. Palace are just going to say, look, 100 mil or maybe more than that. Again, he's not worth that, but the fact that if United was to pivot to him now, it's just stupid, really. But as I said, I still got faith that this Baleba deal gets done, because I think United can't afford to not get it done. And the fact that there's been no bid that's been made as well is frustrating. So yeah, this Wharton story, I'm not believing. Palace are not going to sell him. You know, again, if Eze does leave, then Wharton's not going anywhere. So yeah, Gav, who has a better future, Bernal or Wharton? I like Mark Bernal of Barcelona. I do like him. I think it's hard to say who has a better future because Wharton's played more games for Palace than Bernal has for Barcelona. Obviously, Bernal's been out injured. But Bernal's left-footed as well, which I do like. But I like Adam Wharton. I think Adam Wharton's a top player, man. I think he's definitely a future England international. I have no doubt about that. But to say that who's have the better future, I think it's still early to tell because, as I said, Bernal hasn't played many games. Wharton has. So for me to say Wharton would be easy. But we've got to see how Bernal does because Bernal has got a very tough task of trying to get into this Barca midfield because Pedri isn't going anywhere. Frankie de Jong's is going to sign a new contract. And then you still got Gavi, you know. You still got Danny Olmo who can play in the 10. You know, yeah, so listen, he's going to have a tough task trying to get into that midfield. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see, man. But two very good, potentially top players, I would say, definitely. Gunners fan says, Nottingham Forest are having a good transfer window. Igor Jesus, McAtee, Hutchinson, Rico Lewis. Yeah, listen, I heard the Rico Lewis news the other day, actually. And do you know what? I'll be surprised if they actually sell Lewis. And I'll tell you why. Because he's come through the youth. You know, he was earmarked as a future right back for them. I think it's quite safe to say that Rico Lewis has definitely dropped off. But, yeah, I'll be surprised if they do actually sell him. And what I would say, if they do sell Rico Lewis, McAtee's gone as well. I reckon Man City actually include a buyback price as well. I think the McAtee one, I think there might be a buyback clause in there. And I think they'll do the same with Rico Lewis. And it's clever because you're getting 2 academy products. You know, if Lewis goes for 30 mil as well, you're getting 2 academy products out the club for 60 mil. And you might have a buyback clause in there as well. Even though I do think Lewis might go for slightly more than McAtee because Lewis has had, you know, Champions League experience. You know, he's had more games under his belt for Man City. But I think that, as I said, man, I think they'll, I think they'll include a buyback clause on both players. I think McAtee might have one anyway. And I think if Lewis does go, they'll do the same thing. And that would be great business for City. And I definitely think if that was to happen, City will go into the market for a couple of players. And the thing is, what I like about what City do, you know, if we're looking at it now, there's obviously been links to Donnarumma, to Rodrigo, but it's quite quiet at the moment. What I like is that you just turn on Sky Sports News, and next thing you see in the yellow writing, you see in the breaking down the bottom, City have agreed a deal for so-and-so player. And City always do this, and I can see City doing this. I think City are quietly working behind closed doors, putting deals together. Because the fact that McAtee's gone, they got money coming in for that. Rico Lewis probably might be on his way as well. Savinho the same, might be on his way. Grealish just gone on loan. I think City are working on some deals. So I'll be very surprised, put it that way, if City end this transfer window without at least one more player. You know, so I think it's one to watch. But yeah, listen, Nottingham Forest having a good window, man. They're showing intent. As I said, Igor Jesus, he's at Nottingham Forest, not Brentford. Yeah, him coming in, McAtee, Hutchinson, Lewis. They're trying to get Douglas Luiz as well. Yeah, listen, they're showing some intent, man. And again, that chairman, Marinakis, he's not playing games. You know, the fact that he got what's his face, Gibbs White to sign a new contract after agreeing to go Tottenham. Listen, it just shows you, man, he means business. So you can only applaud it, really. So if United wait 1 year for Baleba, they won't get him. Plenty of teams will be eyeing him next year when they replenish their banks. United have to get Baleba now. Just put 100 mil plus 20 mil. You know what? Listen, Nubis. I mean, it just sounds too easy to say, innit, really? Like, this is what I've been saying. This is why when Sam come out and said Baleba 2026, personally, I don't really want to be hearing that. Just go and get him now. Put the bid in. Put the bid in and stop this nonsense, because next season, he's not going United. Unless he is a boyhood Man United fan, he's not going anywhere. So, yeah, Man United just have to just stop playing games and just go and get him. Simple as, and hopefully that happens. Hopefully it happens. Gab, do you think if Arsenal gave Unai Emery the same time as Arteta, Arsenal would have won the Premier League or Champions League? Great question. Great question. My answer to that, 100%. If Unai Emery had the money that Arteta had and was there for the same amount of time, Unai Emery would have won a trophy already at Arsenal. He would have done. As much as I hate to say it, he would have won a trophy with Arsenal. He would have. This is the difference, because I'm having to hear fans tell me that Arteta is better than Unai Emery. Arteta is not better than Unai Emery. Nowhere near it. Unai Emery had nowhere near the money that Arteta's had. And let's not forget as well, Arteta's one trophy has come with Unai Emery's team. Since Arteta's had his own team, he hasn't won anything. So the answer to that is very easy. If Unai Emery was still there, he would have won a trophy. Champions League is difficult. Premier League is difficult. But he would have won a trophy. I'm pretty sure that with the money with the money that Arteta spent. Because I can tell you this for free, I don't think Unai Emery spends money on Madueke. He doesn't. I don't think Unai Emery spends 100 million on Declan Rice. He doesn't. He would have identified different players that can go and do a same job or who's better. But that's Arsenal's problem anyway. Big up to Not Brett May. Disgusting Liverpool fans last night. I mean, to be honest with you, I didn't hear what was said, but again, Semenyo obviously told the ref, that there was some racial abuse that came his way. But again, why are we surprised, man? These things have been going on for years, and all this kneeling and all this nonsense that that was going on, it's not making any difference, is it? The biggest stand, as I keep saying, and again, I don't think this happens, but the biggest thing that these black players could do to make a stand is when they're getting racially abused, all the black players in the league should come together and just say, look, we're going on strike or we're going to stop playing. Make a statement like that. If they say, look, and again, these are all legal things that might go into it and other stuff. But to make a serious stand, all the black players just come together and say, look, we're going to stop playing for, a couple of weeks or a month or whatever to make a stand against racism. That will get things done in the right way. And again, these things are not simple to do because I don't know the backgrounds of how these things can get done. But until something serious like that is done, it's going to keep happening. Let's be honest. It's going to keep happening. And as I said, that will be a massive show of we're not tolerating this nonsense anymore. So but until that happens, Anton Semenyo is not going to be the last one to get racially abused in the stands. Another player, it will happen to another player this season again. I promise you that for free. So yeah, listen, man, it's a massive problem, but yeah, these things are not going to stop until a stand is made. Because could you imagine the amount of black players in this Premier League that stop playing because, one of their own's getting racially abused? Imagine what an effect that would have. Taking out all the black players from the squad. Again, it's gonna be interesting. So, but until that happens, yeah, expect it to keep continuing. Who's the Premiership's most delusional fans? Oh, that's easy. Arsenal fans, definitely. I think Lumi Rain would even agree with that as well. She's not even in the chat today, but I think she would agree with that. Gav, is McAllister top 6 midfielders in the Premier League? Yeah, he's up there. He's definitely up there. I think if I'm looking at the top 6, I'm looking at Moises Caicedo. So if you look at Chelsea, you've got Moises Caicedo. Romeo Lavia should be it for me as well, but he's injury prone, so we can't put him in there. I like Enzo Fernandez, but Top 6, I don't think he's in the top 6. But you got Moises Caicedo, Rodri when he's fit, 100%. That's 2 already. Reinders, I'll put Reinders in the... Reinders for me is one of the best midfielders in Europe, but until we got to see his first season in the Premier League, so I won't put him in there yet. But Rodri, Caicedo, who else is there? McAllister, definitely, I'll put him in there. Ryan Gravenberch, that's 4. So Rodri, Caicedo, Gravenberch, McAllister. Who else is there? Baleba. Can we put Baleba in there? Yeah, I'm putting Baleba in there. Fuck it. I'll put Baleba in there. 5. And then we're looking at the likes of... Have Tottenham got anyone central midfielder? I mean, João Paulinho, I don't know. I know people are saying to me Declan Rice, I can tell. But Declan Rice... I mean, Declan Rice wasn't even their best midfielder. You know, it was Thomas Partey. You know, but I think the sixth one, you're looking at the likes of Declan Rice will be in there. I'm trying to think who else there is. Yuri Tillemans, you know, Declan Rice is not better than Yuri Tillemans for me. He's not. I'm gonna put Tillemans in there, 6, and then you got the likes of, as I say, Andre Amadou Onana, João Paulinho, as I mentioned already. Yeah, there's probably quite a few midfielders that I've even forgotten about as well. But as I said, yeah, McAllister probably is in the top 6. Yeah, you can probably say that. Nubis says, for 20 million, United could have signed Lennon Miller and Hayden Hackney. At least United have options in centre mid if they sign those 2 right now. I don't trust those 4. Bruno, Cass, Ugarte, Mainu in midfield. So let's go on to the 4 already. So Bruno, Cass, Ugarte, Mainu. Again, in this system, Kobe Mainu is not effective as a 6 or an 8. Ugarte for me is a ball winner, but very low on quality. Casemiro doesn't play in pressing man for man 2 in midfield. You know, and the amount of gaps that are left with Cass playing isn't down to him, it's down to the system. And Bruno Fernandes isn't a central midfielder in this system. He's just being shoehorned into the team because if you brought in Cunha and Mbeumo, you've got to now justify playing Bruno. And that means he's going to play Bruno as a central midfield player. So as a 4, that 4 is a massive concern. It is. Hayden Hackney was rumoured to be going to Ipswich. I'm not sure if he's still at Middlesbrough, but he's a good player. He is. I've seen him play a few times. Lennon Miller, I think, is a good player. I think actually Lennon Miller's actually gone somewhere as well on loan, from what I heard, or a permanent. But again, Man United weren't really interested in these players, you know, and I don't want United just pivoting to those players. Like, it's very clear that the target is Carlos Baleba, which I never thought would happen. So United had to go and get him. It's as simple as that. So, but yeah, no, some good players, to be fair, but that midfield 4 at the moment is a massive problem and has been. Udinese, yeah, that's where he went to, yeah, Lennon Miller. I thought I said it the other day. So if Baleba comes, then what will happen to Mainu? Listen, Mainu's going to stay. Mainu's not going anywhere. He's going to stay. You know, there's no way that Mainu goes. I'm just more concerned on the wage he's going to get because it's rumoured that Mainu wants 150 grand a week, which for me, he shouldn't be getting at his age and at the, you know, and the thing is as well, what he's been doing, like in terms of since he's made his debut. There's no way he should be getting 150. But again, everything's pointing towards that at the moment. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. But for me, if Baleba comes in, listen, like, don't think of what happens to Mainu. We're only looking at Kobe Mainu as what's going to happen to him because of this system. Because, as I keep saying, Ruben Amorim, for me, is not going to be there for the long term. You know, I think a new manager comes in, and if that happens, you change to a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, you could have both Baleba and Mainu in the same team. I'm telling you. I mean, this is never going to happen, yeah? But imagine they go to a 4-2-3-1, and you've got Baleba, Kobe Mainu, and Ahmad in the 10. For me, I can't see it happening. I would love it to happen, but you need a brave manager to go and do that. And I think what would happen is that they might be looking at as the physicality might not be there, you know, which I don't agree with anyway. But imagine that midfield, a 4-2-3-1 of Baleba, Kobe Minu, and Ahmad in the 10. Then you've got Mbeumo and Cunha either side, and Joshua Zirkzee a striker. Imagine that, yeah, as a front six. And at the back, you've got Matthias de Ligt, Lenny Yoro, Mazraoui at right back, and then, or even Dallo, you know, if he's battling Mazraoui at right back, and then Patrick Dorgu at left back. And then you've got Aiden Heaven backing it up as well. Listen, Man United in a 4-2-3-1, a 4-3-3, they can be dangerous. But this system, this is why we're talking about Kobe Minu, you know, in what's going to happen to him. So, big up to Ect Liebe, Dortmund supporter, big up. Right, guys, I'm going to go through a couple of your comments before we wrap up. Only going to do an hour today. Chrism Ark says, Bruno has to learn how to play midfield as Cunha will be United's best 10 this season, I believe. Yeah, but listen, as long as Bruno's in this team, Bruno's going to be believing he can just be that guy. It is. When you've got his compatriot who's the manager in Ruben Amorim, Amorim's given Bruno the license to go and do what he wants. So what I'm trying to say to you is that it doesn't matter that Cunha's here, because Cunha can only shine as much as the team allows him to. And as long as the manager wants to keep shoehorning Bruno into the team, you know, Cunha's got that personality that he can just go and take a game by the scruff of his neck, really. But Bruno's going to be at the hub of it because this manager's allowed it, you know. So, again, expect more misery on this team. Expect it. I've been saying this for time. Knowing Amorim, he won't start Sesko. He is going to start Mbeumo at striker, Ahmad at right 10, Dallo at right wing back. Bruno will be in midfield no matter what. Amorim can be stubborn. Yeah, so as I said, the team that I think he's going to go with, you know, and I'm pretty sure I'll get this team spot on, yeah? If Sesko is starting tomorrow, as what is led to believe, yeah? The team he's going to play tomorrow, and I guarantee you I get this spot on. He'll play Onana in goal. The back three, if Matthias de Ligt is fit, he'll play de Ligt, Yoro, and he'll play Luke Shaw. So Luke Shaw, left side centre-back, de Ligt in the middle, and then Lenny Yoro as a right-sided. Yeah? Then he'll play Bruno and Ugarte in the midfield. He'll play Cunha left 10, Mbeumo right 10, and then he'll play Sesko. The ring-backs will be Ahmad and Dorgu, I believe. Or what he'll do, if he does start Sesko, he might go a bit defensive in the wide areas and play Dallo and Dorgu. So, again, a lot of it depends on what he's going to do. If he doesn't play Sesko, then he's going to play Cunha up top, Mbeumo right 10, Bruno left 10, and then possibly play Casemiro and Ugarte as a bit more protection. And then that way he'll play Ahmad as a right wing back and then Dorgu as a left wing back. I think a lot of the selection is going to depend on if Sesko starts. So what I'm trying to say, if Sesko starts, I think he plays Dallo at right wing back. Because I can't see him playing Sesko, Mbeumo, Cunha, Bruno in midfield, Ahmad as well. Because Ahmad is an attacker. But I think Ahmad is going to get sacrificed for Dallo if Sesko starts to be a bit more defensive. And if he does that, it's a problem. So again, if Sesko starts, I don't think Ahmad starts. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. But if Sesko doesn't start, then I think Ahmad starts. I think a lot of it is going to be dependent on that. Because, as I said, I can't see him going with Ahmad, Mbeumo, Cunha, Sesko, Bruno, Ugarte, Dorgu. I think in his mind, that might be too attacking. So I think something's got to give. So I'm going to say Sesko doesn't start, you know, and then he plays Bruno as a left 10, Cunha, Mbeumo, Ahmad as a right wing back, Dorgu, and then he plays Casemiro Ugarte as more for protection in the midfield. But again, I could be wrong, and this is why it's interesting to see what he does. Mason Mount again might come into this as well. Who knows? Big up to New Today, says Lamine Kamara now. Yeah, listen. Big up to, who was it? One of the someone in my chat, I can't remember what his name was, actually told me about Lamine Kamara of Monaco. And I said United need to be looking at him because he'll be cheap, and he's someone that I believe can come and definitely slot into this team. So New Today saying Lamine Kamara now, Baleba next summer, and our midfield is settled for next 10 years. Manu is still there and Kone. Big up to New Today. I mean, I wouldn't be disappointed with that. But for me personally, do Baleba now and then look at Lamine Kamara now as well. Why don't Man United just go and get Baleba and Kamara? Why not? Or if you're going to get Baleba, get Kamara next season. I'm sick and tired of Man United just doing this whole, let's get him now and then get him next season. Like, we're Manchester United, just go and get both the players. You know, because I would have much preferred United got 2 central midfielders ahead of getting Mbeumo and Cunha. Because I think the central midfield area is important. So, as I said, man, I like Lamine Kamara. I mean, he played against England as well in the friendly with Senegal that beat England, and he played very well. So, yeah, listen, I don't want to see Baleba next summer. Go and get Baleba now and go and get Lamine Kamara. If United want to show intent, go and get both of them. 2 central midfielders, and they'll change the midfield instantly. Like, this is what United need to be doing, because I look at, Chelsea, I look at these clubs. These clubs won't be saying next season and that. They'll go and get the player now. You know, if Man United are getting rid of Garnacho, Højlund's going out, thank God. You look at Anthony and Sancho, what's happening to them as well. Rashford's out on loan. There's surely money to go and get both of them players. You know, there has to be. Because I don't think United pay Baleba up front. I think it's going to be obviously in installments or whatever. But yeah, go and test the resolve. I just want United to go and test the resolve for these players. You know. Right, guys, I'm going to go through a couple of your chats before we wrap. Big up to Christopher Ashurst as well. And big up to Abdel Majid Ben Sari. Guys, as always, make sure you smash the like button and make sure you sub to the channel. Big up to Ammo. So, Gav, what's your expectations on the game tomorrow? I think 2-2. But again, a lot of it is going to be dependent on his lineup. Because as I mentioned earlier, if he starts Sesko, that means Bruno is going to be playing as a central midfielder. And he'll probably play Bruno alongside Ugarte because of Ugarte's legs. And if he does that, I don't know if that's going to work personally. So I'm going to wait until tomorrow's team news. That's what I'm going to do. Gav, do you think Saka should have been nominated for the Ballon d'Or? I mean, I can't remember what the list is. I mean, if you give me the list, then I can see what players are in there again, and I can see if he deserves a mention, you know. Yeah, listen, Riyad Mahrez was a top player, man. He was top player, Riyad Mahrez. No, Ekitike is not an out-and-out 10. He's a 9. He's a striker that can play withdrawn and play from out wide as well. Yeah, he is. He's a very good player, man. Michael Fisher says Ronaldo or Messi. Messi. L says, what team do you support? Man United. Man United supporter. Also like Barcelona as well. The amount of times I get asked this question. Bold take. Fabian Ruiz is the best midfielder in PSG. He's a top player, man. He is top player. That's not really a bold take, you know, because they've got a good combination in midfield. Fabian Ruiz, Vitinha, and João Neves. I'd probably say Vitinha is probably the best, slightly ahead of Fabian Ruiz, but I think Fabian Ruiz he's someone that's underrated. He's someone that's definitely underrated. I'll definitely say that. Yeah, big up to Chief Herb says, what about this kid at Sevilla, Lucien Agume? Yeah, listen, I've seen Lucien Agume. Lucien Agume is formerly of Inter Milan. And again, obviously he's been, I think there's some fans that talk about him coming to United. Again, I'm just not really that enthusiastic at the moment. I think Agume is a good player, but I don't trust Man United to even be in for these players. This is the problem. So my thing is, you know, just go and get the Baleba deal done. You know, this is what I'm saying, man. I'm tired of hearing other names linked now, and all this does is just take away the fact that, you know, this disappointment of the Baleba news. So Agume is good, but United not even looking at him. So it's just wasted talk, really. So our Storm Pace on cricket team says, Gav, why do you glaze left-footed players so much? Bro, I don't glaze anyone. I'm left-footed as it is anyway, and left footers are a rarity in football, you know, especially in the era that I was playing anyway. But obviously, like now, when you get a left-footed player, you know, normally they're very high on the technical side. And if you look at what Man United need right now, if there's ever any evidence, look at Man United's central midfield. They're all right-footed players. So this is why United need Baleba, because he's left-footed and he would add balance to that central midfield. Since the loss of Fred, Man United haven't had a left-footed central midfielder. So this is why it's important for the balance of the team. Big up to Prod. Idiot, man. Serious. Yeah, big up to DXR says, so I work for DWP, Department Working Pensions, and I had a white Eastern European asking me where I am from. Okay. Big up DXR, man. Do you know what the question means if you're black or brown? So I'm guessing he's referring to, are you black or Asian? It can only be that. Big up to Lavi Patel. Big up, Lavi, if you're still in the chat. Yeah, guys, if I'm not getting back to everyone's comments or questions, because I'm just skimming through them, because I've got to wrap up in a bit anyway. So big up yourselves for coming through, and as I say, keep supporting the channel and keep coming through as always. Gav, is Raya the best goalkeeper in the Premier League in the last 2 years? No. No, he's not. Alisson is. How good was Eric Cantona in your opinion, Christopher Ashurst? Listen, Eric Cantona is one of my original GOATs from Man United. He's one of the main reasons why I support Man United. One of the main reasons, you know. Like Eric Cantona was just different, man. Again, if you're not from that era of the 90s, you know, you wouldn't understand how good Eric Cantona was. Like Eric Cantona was just a maverick, like an absolute maverick, and him single-handedly was winning United league titles. You know, well, when I say single-handedly, I think that's a bit harsh on the other team because the team was good, but he was probably the main reason why they were winning titles. Like he was that good, you know. So yeah, man, big up to Eric each and every time, man. Eric Cantona, King Cantona. Big up to Neil Crode says, still need to sign a flake midfielder, even with a Wharton / Homeland. Yeah, listen, Homeland's not coming, man. United are not signing any former Amarim players. It's not that. They're making club signings, not signings for the manager. So Baleba's a club signing, Adam Wharton's a club signing. Embuemo, Cunha, Sesko, they're all club signings. So I think this Homeland noise, we can just rule it out. As I said, Wharton is going to be more of a difficult deal than what Baleba is. So, yeah, listen. Just go and get Baleba, man. Let's stop playing games. Big up to Bay Objective. Gav, who is better, Cunha or Mbuemo? Different players, really. They're different players. It's hard to like. It depends what you mean, like, because a lot of these questions, as I said, they're subjective. Yeah, let's big up Barbara Joseph. Yeah, Eric Cantona, man, he was different. He was. Yeah, like, who's better, Cunha or Mbuemo? It's difficult to answer, you know, because you have to narrow down what you're actually what we're actually discussing there. You know, is it, you know what I mean? What's your basis for saying better? Gav, how many goals do you think Gabriel Magalhaes will get from headers? Don't know, 5? Who knows? Yeah, probably 5. Big up to Lamine Jamal as well for coming through. Big up. But guys, listen up. I'm going to have to wrap anyway. But listen, big up to all the mods each and every time. Big up to all the newcomers coming through. Only 12 likes, guys, which is pretty poor, you know. But listen, when you come through, make sure you smash the like button each and every time. Obviously, help the channel to grow. And as always, make sure you sub to the channel if you're new in here. Guys, I'm going to be back tomorrow, 4 o'clock. Man United, Arsenal, obviously live watch along. So if you guys want to come through and do the watch along with me, make sure you come through as always. You know, give me your comments, give me your questions, and let me know what you think of the news that broke yesterday between Baleba and Man United. Do you still think Baleba still comes to United? Will United make that bid? Is this Wharton news just news to try and get the fans on side, to try and steer away from the disappointment of the Baleba news from yesterday? Let me know. But as I said, live tomorrow, guys, at 4 o'clock. Live watch along. Big game, Man United versus Arsenal. And listen, Man United, as I said, it's a must-not-lose game. Must-not-lose game. But big up yourselves, guys, each and every time. And I'm going to catch you guys tomorrow. Take it easy.